This is where a lot of churches like to focus on what we call the church aware audience, meaning they're already looking for a church. They just aren't sure that your church is the one to go to. Okay. The church aware person, that stage of awareness has typically moved to a new area and they're looking for a new church, or they're entering into a new season of life. They're getting married, they're getting divorced, they have kids, they're lost their job, and they're looking to get back into the swing of things. Okay. The way, you communicate to this person is very different from the way that you communicate to someone who is totally unaware of your church. It's also different from the way that you communicate to the person that's most aware of your church. And the best way to communicate to the church aware person is what we call church branding. And if you're unfamiliar with that is simply setting yourself apart from other organizations, not just churches, but other ways that people try to fulfill themselves in life. You separate yourself and you communicate a unique message to the right person in the right way, so that they see that your church is the obvious next step and answer to their problem and struggles. And the reason why church branding is at the center of it is because it's all related around your identity. Your identity is not your physical building. It's not your logo. Okay. And if you treat yourself like just another church, guess what happens? Your community will see you as just another church. And my question to you, Pastor, is what do they think a church is? And this is where we have to constantly fight that uphill battle of, oh, the church is full of hypocrites. Not my church. How can you say that when your church presents itself to the community in the way you speak, the way you act, the way you talk, the way you present, the way you visualize yourself and visually represent yourself in a way that is just like every other church? You may believe that you're just a small church, just like any other, in which case the community will treat you like just a small church, just like any other, until you recognize that God has uniquely planted your church, whether you're 150 years old or 50 hours old. Your church has been uniquely planted to uniquely reach a unique group of people. God's given you unique gifts. You need to represent that to your community in a way that resonates with the people you're called to serve. We call this branding. Okay. Just like you put a brand on a cattle, so you know that cow's yours. And if it wanders off, they'll be able to recognize and say, that belongs to that rancher over there. Right. Well, when you're at a farmer's market in a sea of vendors and organizations and other MLMs and other churches, they're going to see you. And even without talking to you, they're going to know that's the church that believes XYZ, or that helped me XYZ, or I know they can XYZ because I've heard it and I've understood it and I've internalized it. And they've spoken to me in a way that no one else has ever spoken to me. You want to know what causes Elevation and Saddleback and VU Church and even Lakewood? You know what separates them from other churches? And this is for good and for bad, not those specific churches, but faster growing churches know the importance of setting the standard of who they are, why they are, and what people should do when they're feeling a certain way. The fastest growing churches understand the benefits of branding themselves and setting themselves apart from other churches. You want people that have never given any other church to give you a shot? You need to show them that you're not like every other church. So your identity is not your building. It's not the time you meet. It's the way you visually represent yourself and the way you talk about yourself into the community. Okay? And if you want to reach people you've never reached before, you're going to have to do things you've never done before. I say that a lot. And so you're going to have to spend some time to self-evaluate. That's why the first thing we do is clarify your message, which includes clarifying who you are. A lot of pastors don't know what makes their church special. That's a problem. Okay. So you need to look at what is our purpose for being here? Who are we equipped to serve? Who are we serving well? And who else is like that we can serve immediately right now? Okay. And I'm not talking about the people that have already engaged with you. I'm talking about the people that are just aware of a church. Okay. Because they're going to be looking at you versus other churches, and the other churches that have a unique brand are going to get more attention and get more intention to connect with those churches. Whereas you're just going to get whoever comes in spite of that, in which case, if you're happy with that, that's fine. But don't tell me that you want to go out and do whatever it takes to grow the kingdom, make disciples, share the gospel, and increase the righteous in your community, because you're not. You're just happenstance. Okay. So a lot of issues, a lot of other issues that will occur with churches that don't have church branding is that they'll just be faced with a lot of apathy. Okay. You wonder why people are so apathetic to the church, because every church just says the same thing. Right? It's just like the guy that stands out in front of Costco or Target. Those are the two that I constantly have to deal with. They're like, hey, are you happy with your cell phone bill? I am very happy. My cell phone is free, so don't talk to me, right? It's not, but it's like, I want to say that because I just want them to stop talking to me, right? I don't care what kind of deal they have. If they keep approaching me the same way, I'm not going to pay attention. And if you keep looking and talking and carrying yourself and promoting yourself and communicating yourself like every other church, doesn't matter how good you are, great you are, and how well equipped you are. If you cannot distinguish and differentiate yourself, you're going to face that same apathy that I do with the cell phone salesperson at the store. So what happens when you actually get your branding in check? Okay, number one, you become the obvious answer for anyone looking for a church. Hello. So anyone searching for church near me, yes, you can appear at the top, but if you appear at the top and you look like everyone else, they're just going to keep going. Okay. That's the importance of visually representing yourself, but also consistently representing yourself, because that may not be the first time they've seen you. They may have seen you at the vendor's fair and you've got a black and blue tent, but then online it's all yellow and orange. Like, I don't know. Is that the same church? I don't know. Let's just keep looking. Right? And they're going to find the one that distinguishes themselves from you. Okay. The other thing that's really a nice side effect, and a lot of agencies don't approach branding like this, but we do. And that is clarifying who you are and recognizing your unique values, your unique giftings, and even your unique mission and ministry missions as well. You're going to be able to look at yourself and say, this is why we're here. How many congregations can say, yes, I know why we're here. God put us here because there is so much addiction in this community, and we are here to raise them away from it through the power of Christ, to break those bonds. And that's who we can rescue in the name of Jesus Christ. And we're here to serve and witness to those people. Or does your congregation just say, oh yeah, we're a great church. I mean, we're just, we got Baptist in the name. We're not too much like Baptist. That doesn't separate yourself from anyone else. And if I haven't given any other church a shot, why should I give your church a shot? Okay, so what do? Number one, you got to craft your memorable message and represent it visually. Your memorable message is what we call, hey, what's that one line that's going to get attention, get people to feel understood, and get them aware of what they should do next to connect with you. Remember, you don't need to get them like aware of your church specifically. You need to get them to your church or get your church to them if it's online, and get them engaged with you in discipleship relationship. All right. And to do that, you craft what we call a memorable message. That's showing understanding. That's showing how your church is equipped to serve them, and then giving them something to do. Okay, real simple 3 steps, and then match it visually. Okay, if you say that you're an exciting, youthful church that is here to take Houston by storm, whatever it is, I just made that up. You can't represent it with blue and silver. That's Dallas colors. It's Cowboys colors, right? You got to really, if you're really locally focused like that, a lot of churches will try to use local college teams. And for some churches that will work really well. For other churches, it's going to burn their representation down because they're going to misuse it, misrepresent it, and they're going to set themselves apart. So you want to make sure that you match your messaging visually. Number 2, you need to promote your services and events following your memorable message, meaning who are we here to serve? How do we serve them? And what should they do to be served? Hey, I like that. So when you promote your services, you're going to promote it in a way that's going to communicate those values, that mission to people. And you're not going to specifically say, hey, we've got a new ministry specifically for addicted people. So if you're here and you're addicted and we'd love to, no, you're not going to go at it strong like that. But you're going to show the church aware people, hey, we are here to serve that kind of person. And by the way, I'm very excited to have Barbara Cornero from Word Revolution. She's going to be on the show next year as a guest, and we're going to talk all about planning your events around your messaging, around your brand. Because a lot of churches, where they shoot themselves in the foot, is they try to plan events that aren't really centered around who their church is. And this is usually well-meaning. This is usually someone that came from another church and said, hey, I had this great ministry, I'd love to bring it here. And the pastor says yes, but it's not what the church is equipped to handle. Okay, so we're going to talk about promoting your services, but that's the number 2 thing you need to do. And then lastly is align your services and events with your brand. Meaning, if you have a VBS, don't go out and promote it as VBS. Promote it as your church that's having the VBS. Okay, otherwise you're just going to get parents that are coming for VBS because they're there for VBS. They're connected with VBS, not your church. Okay. And so that's how you're going to get the church aware people, the people that are looking for a church. If you want to get them to your church, brand yourself, differentiate yourself, and communicate consistently in a way that resonates with them, they will jump straight to your church. It's not a funnel. This is how to get the church aware people to your church.